All right, Nick, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you look at this offense for the Steelers, a lot of questions. Who's going to be the quarterback? Is Pickens going to be at the wide receiver position next year? There's a lot of unknowns and, quite frankly, a lot of negative unknowns for the Steelers. But there's one positive the Steelers have been linked to that I think would be absolutely massive for them going forward. We'll get in that in just a minute. But first, I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. And Nick, as I alluded to, a major move potentially linked to Pittsburgh. I think this would be huge for them. And it's not just us saying it. The numbers are saying they are the favorites for this move as well. Let's get into the article and we talk more about it on the other side. This, of course, from over on NBC Sports. It says, the Rams are trying to trade receiver Cooper Kupp. His contract points to the distinct possibility of release. Regardless, he's on the track to have a new team in 2025. DraftKings has posted the odds for Kupp's next destination, and the co-favorites are the Steelers and Bengals at plus 500. Each next at plus 600 are four teams with Broncos, Commanders, Patriots, Chargers. Again, from NBC Sports. But what you need to take away from here is Steelers are the favorites to get Cooper Kupp. I think this would be a big pickup for them. A veteran wide receiver on this team makes a whole lot of sense. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick. But before we get to you, Steelers fans, in the comment section below. I know you're great at drafting wide receivers. You always get a lot of talent, but a no-drama guy like Cooper Kupp seems like a really good fit. Let us know what your thoughts are on this potential trade to Pittsburgh. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Maybe what would you give up for him? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about the potential here of Cooper Kupp to the Steelers?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I honestly think the Steelers should pull the trigger and make this trade. And the Rams are looking to shop Cooper Kupp, which means they're not trying to get, a king's ransom for him. They would take almost whatever they could get. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd be happy with a third round pick, maybe even a second round pick. Now, obviously, Cooper Kupp, due to injuries, isn't as dominant as he was just a few short years ago, but he is still a clear-cut, high-quality starting receiver in the NFL. And he is a professional in the purest definition of that word. You talk about a guy, if there's a guy who can work with Pickens and show him the ropes and teach him how to grow up a little bit, it's Cooper Kupp. So I think there'd be a lot of benefits adding him to the Steelers roster. Again, not giving up too much. In fact, Ben Roethlisberger came out recently and said he's all in on this trade too if they don't give up too much for him. And I don't think the Steelers would if they made this trade. I think a third round pick, I think seems fair across the side here. Maybe a fourth and a seventh, something like that. But that level of draft capital to pick up Cooper Kupp. Now let's look at the salary cap situation here. And according to overthecap.com, the Steelers have about $40 million in cap space. That, of course, is with no starting quarterbacks of any sort of starting caliber on the roster right now. So a big chunk of that's going to go to the quarterback position. But if you look at Cooper Kupp's situation right now, if the Rams were to trade him, they would absorb most of his cap hit, about $17 million in dead money. And the receiving team of the trade in 2025 would receive about $12 million in salary cap hit. So that's a very, very fair price for any team to get a $12 million cap hit for Cooper Kupp in 2025. If you do a little math there, that would allow the Steelers to still have $28 million of salary cap space to go out and re-sign Wilson or re-sign Fields or whatever they want to do at the quarterback position. And of course, they could restructure some contracts, cut some guys, open up more dollars there as well. The point being is this trade makes sense financially. There's a lot of trades that make sense on paper. There's a lot of trades where both parties want to make the deal, but the salary cap situation is just in a bad spot. This is not the case here. I think the Steelers are looking to make a big move this offseason. I think when you have guys like Roethlisberger saying changes need to happen, when literally every single fan, every single viewing member of the public say changes need to happen. I mean, we heard the broadcast during the playoff game. What is going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Everyone is aware that the Steelers are in a situation where changes and big changes need to happen. I think making an early trade for Cooper Kupp sends a message to the rest of the organization that changes are here in Pittsburgh. And honestly, he would be a perfect addition for this offense.
Yeah, Nick, and I think not only would he be the perfect fit, I think it's a really great opportunity for the Steelers as well. Because, like you say, you look at everything, you look at the salary cap, implications for the Rams, you look at the position they're in, the way that they kind of like last second just announced that Cooper Kupp is now open for trade. They're not really in the place to, try to get a king's ransom for Kupp. They're kind of between a rock and a hard place as far as unloading Kupp. Like the article says, look their prime candidate to actually just release him potentially. That's the situation they're in with Cooper Kupp. So I think the Steelers, they can get him. They can get him for a steal. I doubt that he gets released. I think they try to get something for him, but I think that's the key here. They're just trying to get something for him. So I think the Steelers are in a prime position here. Favorites by DraftKings, plus 500 Steelers to get Cooper Kupp. I think they get him, and I think they get him at a very reasonable price as well. This would be a really good move for the Steelers. I think this offense would excel with a guy like Cooper Kupp. And I really think, like you said, this signals if they go out and make this move, this is a team focused on change. They're wanting to change this offense around for the better. Cooper Kupp makes a whole lot of sense here.
And just one final point to address, I'm sure the question on a lot of Steelers fans' minds right now. Well, if they're going to cut him potentially, why not wait until they cut him? If the Rams were to release him, it would be as a designated June 1st release. That would give him $20 million in cap savings. So at that point, he would be a free agent. And of course, anyone could go in and sign Cooper Kupp. And as a Steelers fan, you could get outbid by a team like the Patriots, who just have 3 times the cap space. You don't want to take that chance. And of course, by the time that cut would happen in June, you would have gone through an entire offseason with question marks at the wide receiver position. It makes more sense to make sure you cut everybody in line, even if you give up a 3rd-round draft pick, which honestly, the more I think about it, I wouldn't be surprised if a 4th or 5th-round pick does the trick. I think the Rams are more likely just trying to get something in return for Cooper Kupp. You give that up, you address one of your big weaknesses, you solve a culture problem, and you send a message in one foul swoop. This trade just makes too much sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers.